Hello, YouTube. How was how was this full moon for you? It was definitely a big one for me. It was a lot came up and a lot of things happened, and I actually internally, but then also like externally as well. And the reason why I wanted to come on and share what I'm about to share is to say that, we're all human. And sometimes, like, even if, we've done a lot of inner work and we've done a lot of healing, things are still going to trigger us and things are still going to pop up for us to heal and navigate. And I definitely been diving into a lot of like inner child healing and triggers in like the last few videos. And this is going to be a continuation of that conversation. So, one, I wanted to kind of really tap into the idea of like what happens when we get triggered. And I'm not saying the small triggers like, okay, you get upset by what someone said on the internet and then you let it go, you move on. I'm talking about the big ones where it feels like anxiety. It feels like life is like the world is about to end. It feels like this is like not okay. And in those moments, I find it can be very challenging to really tap into a different part of the brain, so to speak. And I feel like that when you are in those big trigger moments, that's all you see. That's all you see. That's all you hear. And sometimes it's very challenging in that moment to react differently, choose differently, see something differently. And so, and that's what happened to me this weekend. And it's been a while since I've had a trigger that big that has like completely like blinded me, so to speak. And it happens. It happens. And I wanted to come on and say that, you are human and that those things are going to happen. But what's key is what do you do after? What do you do after the wave has passed? What do you do after the trigger has ridden out? Is it, do you beat yourself up? What are the internal thoughts that you have about yourself? Because when we're in that big of a trigger, we might say or react or do something that we're not necessarily proud of, or it's not the best version of us. And once it passed and once we reflect back, we're like, oh, shit. But then this is where it's going back to like reparenting ourselves, going back to like our own self-love and self-care, because whatever version of us came out from that trigger, whether it was, like 5-year-old you, or whether it was 12-year-old you, or 20-year-old you, whichever version of you came out with, whether it was anger, sadness, anxiety, fear, whatever brought up in that moment, it was just this old version of you, like from the past, that either wanted to be seen, wanted to be validated, wanted to be heard, wanted to be loved. And that's why, like, those triggers pop up and they feel like super big in that moment. And you just want the other thing, the other person, the thing that's outside of you to say it's all okay. But then even if they say it's all okay, sometimes like we can't even like take it in because we're in that midst of the trigger. And so we're in the storm. And when you're in the storm, you can't see, hear what is actually really happening. Like, how many times have you started reading a text? And this is a small example, but you started reading a text and You read the first sentence and it pissed you off. For some reason, something that someone said in that first sentence just did not land. And then you continue reading the text and and then you put it away. And then you may respond, may not respond, but then you go back and you reread the text after you've calmed down and you actually read what it says. It's not so bad. It's not, you realize, oh shit, I misread that, or I misinterpret that, or I misunderstood that. And that's what happens in a trigger. So when the big triggers happen, when it's like it feels like you're in that storm of like you can't like if you're in an argument with someone or if you're in a fight with someone or if there is like something that's truly falling apart, you can't fully see the situation as what it is. You can only see the part where you're like, this is unfair. This is not okay. This is happening. This is not supposed to happen, or whatever it is that you're navigating in that moment. And so in those moments, you're not going to be perfect. In those moments, you're gonna maybe say something that's not okay, maybe do something that's not okay. And, at the end of the day is after when you come out of it, how do you take responsibility for yourself? What do you say to yourself? How do you navigate how you speak to yourself? Like, how can you bring in a little more self-love? Do you beat yourself up and say, I should have not been like that? And, that was like awful of me? Or do you say, it was a trigger, it was a wound? Was it right that I reacted that way? No, but my emotions and my feelings are valid. That's one way to tap into it. You can find your own way. You can find your own words of what it is like to tap into that moment of self-love. Now, if there was someone else or something else involved in the situation, and maybe you said something that, requires an apology or maybe requires like a boundary to be set, then navigate that. And then if you want to take it a level deeper, and this is where you can tap into the inner child healing. Why did that come up? What stemmed that trigger? What brought up that big wave of emotions? And what were you seeking in that moment? What did you want? And when was the last time you felt this way? Is this a recurring pattern? Has this happened before? And if you can continue to go back and try to figure out where did it stem from, or even access your subconscious through meditation to figure out where did that like really come from, then you can kind of slowly like start connecting the dots and you can begin to understand. And I find that the minute you take that level of awareness and you bring it into somewhere deeper, somewhere where you really figure out where does this stem from, then it's almost like, when you recognize there's a problem. It's like that first step. You recognize there's something there. You recognize where it stems from. And so the next time, because the patterns are going to repeat themselves. They may look a little different each time, but they are going to repeat themselves to stem that emotion for you to heal. And so maybe the next time the pattern repeats itself, you can start noticing it, and then you can actually start tapping into your mind and be like, "Oh, I'm triggered. Oh, okay, this is happening again. It happened last time, and last time I reacted this way and was not, it's not that was not the version of me I wanted to react. But now I'm seeing it happening. It's bringing up the same emotions, and maybe you can create a little bit more awareness towards yourself. And then as you create more awareness with each pattern, you get better and better at holding yourself through it. And through time, you begin to heal that part of you. And so that's why it's so important in my mind to figure out where does it stem from? Because when you figure out where it stems from, you understand the why you, what were you seeking in that moment, and why did you react how you reacted? If it was something from needing a validation, needing somebody to tell you, that you're right, or that, you're going in the right direction. If there was a sense of validation, where in the past did you seek validation or and didn't receive it? Was there some, was it going back to your childhood? Was there, you were doing really well in the class and you didn't get recognized for it? Or you work so hard to do this project and it was disregarded, it was ignored because maybe there was other things going on that brought people's attention somewhere else. And so figuring out where it's come from, it's like it connects you to your inner child. It connects you to another version of you. And the more you connect yourself with all these deep versions of you, all these little versions of you, then you understand yourself at a much deeper level. Because, when you're in that trigger, because here's the real question. When you're in that trigger and you react, you know, in a certain way, are you really happy with yourself? Like usually like if I when I react, I come out and I'm like, ooh, that didn't feel so great. It didn't. I will share love and compassion for that version of me because that version of me is hurt and has wounds and wanted wanted to be seen, wanted to be included, wanted to be heard, wanted to feel loved. But the way it came out, it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay to me. It wasn't okay to the other person that was involved or situation. And so yeah, in the future, like I don't want that version of me to come out. I'd rather like have like a more emotionally intelligent version of me. Like if someone did something that wasn't okay, to be able to sit and talk to them and explain what I'm feeling, but then also be able to have a conversation and express myself in a different lens versus this hurt, needy, like very needy, codependent, like wanting attention. That's not who I want to be. And so this is why, when you start healing, you're healing yourself, like you're tapping into another version of you. You're tapping into another identity. You're tapping into, your own growth and your own healing. And so yeah, that's basically like in this this video inspired that what happened over the weekend. I got it severely triggered and I couldn't like I just couldn't snap out of it. I spiraled and I couldn't like my I was in it. I was in the storm. I was like in it. And only like the next day I was able to like I got out of it and I was like, "Oh, okay." That was a big trigger. That was a big one. Like, okay, like let's let's take a little breather. And I had to create that space for myself. I had to, tell myself that it was, like it was okay to feel all of that, but we gotta heal this trigger. We gotta work on it. And it was just like this trigger of like wanting to be loved and wanting to be, seen and loved and cared for. And I know it just like sometimes like it stemmed from, past past relationships, like with various different people where I wasn't seen, I wasn't recognized, I was, neglected, I was put aside. Other things took priority over me. And in the past, I allowed those things to happen, and it's not, and I don't allow that to happen now, but it's just sometimes when it seems like something is taking more priority, even though it's not, but when it seems like something is taking more priority over me, it brings that up. And I'm like, oh, what about me? I want to feel loved. But that's not what the actual situation meant. But in that moment, I wasn't able to fully see it. I wasn't able to fully, I was just in the storm. And so, and it was really interesting because like even as one of the thoughts that came up in my brain was, it wasn't so much like I'm very good at like allowing myself to have whatever emotions I have and say it's okay. But what actually came up was, oh my God, like I didn't navigate that trigger at all. Like I didn't navigate it in the moment. It was numb, my best version of myself. And I'm like, oh, well, this is what I'm talking about in my business. This is what I do. And it goes to show that, we're not perfect. Like even like any other spiritual coach, therapist, we all have our shits, and at the end of the day is what do you do about it after the fact? What do you do? How do you navigate yourself after it? And so for me, it was like, okay, recognizing it, recognizing where it stemmed from, why is it popping up, being compassionate towards myself and being compassionate towards like how I feel. But then also, the thought of like, this is what I teach. Well, you know what? I'm going to use this opportunity and share it with you so you can see like what I do also in those moments because I have those moments too. There are moments where it's like a trigger comes up and I'm like, "Ooh, that was a trigger." And I know where it stems from and I'm on it. I'm on the ball. Like I don't let it affect anything externally. I process it internally. And then there's other moments where I'm in the storm. And if I get in those moments of being in the storm, I'm sure you do as well. And know that it's okay to be in the storm. And in the storm, it's foggy. In the storm, it's not clear. In the storm, it's a shit show. It really is. But that's not the time. Like that's just like the time that you just sometimes you gotta surrender to it and just allow whatever yourself needs to go through. But if there is an awareness in the storm, then that's different. Then that's when you can like tap into that emotional intelligence. But if there's no awareness, it's okay. It's okay. What can you do after? What do you do after? How do you navigate the situation after? How can you grow from it after? What can you learn from it after? And then the next time the pattern's going to repeat for you to heal and grow. It may not look the same. It'll look a little different or it may look the same. Who knows, depending. And then you'll have that feeling resurface and then you'll know, okay, happened last time I was in the storm, but this time I see you. And then you can decide what to do with yourself in that moment. In that moment, that's when you can make that decision. You have the path and you can make a different decision than you did before. So this is one of my other episodes for the spring series. And hope you enjoyed it. If you like this episode, please like. If you're enjoying my content, subscribe. Um, if there's any questions you have, feel free to like share it in the comments. Feel free to also reach out to me. I have like all my information in the show notes. So you can like go there, reach out. If you feel like, this is where you're at and you want to like, you really want to like kind of go in and learn more about this, like continue watching my videos, reach out, contact me, see what we can do together. And that's it. That's all I got. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you next time.